Hey guys, welcome in. It's really weird not hearing Sunny's voice first, but this is episode 24 of the IQ podcast. It's a very special episode for us today because we have a very interesting theme. At least I think it is. We are getting perspectives from some amazing ladies tonight. So I'm gonna have our our guests introduce themselves. So welcome into the Infinite Quality podcast. We have three amazing guests, and honestly, thank you so much for being here. These individuals I look up to, and I am so impressed by the work that they do. So the fact that they are here talking with me today is incredibly humbling. So thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I know the community is really excited to hear your perspectives as well. But before we get started, I would love everyone to introduce themselves. So we're going to go around to Lady Zoe first, then Lily Charles, and then Luality. Lady Zoe, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do, what it's like being a streamer of your content.
Well, I've been on Twitch since 2015. I started out moderating for my good friend the Happy Hob. So I did that for a number of years, which led me into like, Lady Zoe, when are you going to stream? And so that was like, eventually I got into it finally, and like a year later I got into streaming, and so I've been on Twitch for a number of years now. What do I stream? Just whatever I really want to stream at the time. I My big thing is like I have a backlog of video games I have to finish. That's kind of like the thing I try to do is work off the backlog. That doesn't mean I don't do other video games along the way, but it's mostly just that. It's a very chill stream, very comfortable, or at least I hope so anyway. That's pretty much me. I don't know. Is there anything else really?
Well, we can go around and give
Yeah.
everyone the 50,000-foot view, and then we'll start to focus in.
Oh, okay.
So Lily, tell us about yourself.
So I'm Lily Charles. I've been streaming now for about 3.5 years, full time for about 2 years. So I started very casually. I was a lurker on Twitch for a really long time, wasn't really known in any communities. I got convinced by a friend that I should start streaming. He thought I'd be good at it. And so I kind of started from scratch and went into variety, couple hours a week type thing. I had a full-time job that I was very unhappy at, and it was more of a way to escape and just enjoy gaming and getting to know people. I just kind of went from there. I grew from there. I got involved in the Souls community, and the challenge running, no hit in particular, became a big part of my stream. That's how I ended up actually getting partnered, was through that. And kind of went from there. I stuck in the Souls, got back more into variety now. I stream a lot of horror games, which my community loves. I'm not a huge fan, but they really enjoy it. So that's become a big part of my stream as well. And guess what? This is my full-time job, which I never intended. I never thought I'd end up here.
Wait, which game you
Ever.
said?
Souls? Dark Souls 3?
Oh, no. Just now. Oh, never mind.
Just
Horror games.
Just horror games.
Oh,
Yeah.
horror games.
Scary games.
I think Luality might have misheard that. That's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
This is a Wendy's, yeah. Great, yeah, and you know that's amazing, right? And becoming that a full-time partner streamer is quite an accomplishment. So thank you again for being here. I'm excited to spend the next number of minutes to an hour or so talking with you. So, all right, Lua, tell us about yourself.
Me? Well,
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'll go like Lily said, how I started streaming. I've been playing video games since I'm like 4, as I remember. I've been playing video games because of my father. He always got me into it. And I was studying for a job that I had to compete against 9,000 people. And because of 8 people that did a little bit better than me, I couldn't get that job. And then I got into a very desperate phase of my life. I just wanted to do something, especially because I spent like 5 years studying for this specific thing and I couldn't accomplish it. So I just felt worthless. And I just wanted to work somewhere just so I feel like I'm doing something for the world, you know? And I applied to more than 50 jobs everywhere. And I wasn't being picky. It wasn't even related to my major. I have a biology degree. And I tried working in a mall store, in a restaurant, anywhere, and no place still hasn't called me. And one of my friends that I played Guild Wars 2 at the time, he was like, "Hey, you're pretty fun to play video games with. Why don't you try streaming?" I was like, "I've never even watched a stream. How do I stream?" And I didn't really use Twitch or anything with Twitch. And then he was like, "Well, I think it would be good for you. And, since you're not doing anything, might as well give it a go." And I gave it a try. And I actually got partnered on Twitch after 1 month and 2 weeks of streaming. I don't know how,
That is
but,
impressive. Yeah.
but I did start streaming a game that I knew a lot about. And I was streaming a content that people were really interested at. And I had 14,000 hours of experience in that game. So it worked out and it suddenly became my full-time thing. And I have been doing that for 5 years.
Wow.
Mhm.
Almost a theme that I sense from the three of y'all is having to be convinced to start streaming. I find that kind of interesting. Why do you think that's the case? What aside from maybe not having an idea of what streaming was, why did you think you might have needed to be convinced to start streaming?
Well,
Um,
for me, I mean, I always had like a feeling that I wanted to stream, but it was kind of just kind of dragging my butt about it. Like, I wasn't really like I've seen like I never my goal was never to like get partnered or anything. I just wanted to like I really liked smaller streams, just like cozy kind of communities and stuff. So I was like, oh, I mean, if I could do something like that, that would be great. Um, just for me, it was just getting to it and like my situation right now, it's not really like a situation where it's like, oh yes, I have all this space where I could stream, and it's like I have a room. It's like this is my bedroom, so like it's not really. It wasn't originally per se a streaming space, but it I was just kind of like uh so people just kept asking me. They were like, "Well, I'd like to see you stream and stuff." And I just eventually was like, "Yes, I will do it." So I just kind of had to push myself into doing it. I always wanted to, but yeah.
I think for me, it was more. My dad always makes fun of me because they don't believe me, but I'm naturally a very quiet person. Like I'm 100% an introvert. I don't like being the center of attention. I don't like my picture taken. I don't, I don't like being in front of groups of people. So you would take all of that on paper and that I would hate streaming until I tried it, until I realized what it actually was and how it felt. Um, and I think maybe because I started right from the start, I was able to build up to having a larger chat. And like when I started, there was maybe 1, 2 people that I could talk to. And then it grew very naturally, like very slowly, but consistently. So I think I was able to just get more comfortable. But I just had this feeling in the back of my mind that I wouldn't enjoy it because it didn't feel like who I was as a person until I understood what streaming was. And the only way for me to do that was to actually get involved and do it.
Wait, do you guys know what streaming is?
What is streaming? That's a
Yeah,
great question, right?
yeah. It felt very, very different than I expected it to. I expected to be very nervous, and I was. My first stream, I think I said a total of maybe 5 words, and luckily there was nobody there.
Wow.
Like I
We
am
all
a
start
very
somewhere.
quiet, shy person. And my chat just if when I tell them that now, they don't believe me. They don't believe that I'm that quiet person in real
I
life.
think streaming also helps a lot too if you're a quiet person,
Mhm.
because I was really quiet too, still am. But
Yeah.
streaming's definitely helped me, I guess, being more talkative, I guess.
Mhm.
Like it just makes it more easy, even
Yeah,
if
for
I'm just
sure.
talking to a camera.
Mhm.
Being honest, I'm also a quiet kind of person, but not really. I'm the kind of person that I'm very quiet and reserved
Mm.
when I don't feel comfortable around
Mm.
the place that I am. But the moment that I know the people, I know who I'm hanging out with, I'm just like out, you know. So usually people on stream, since I know most of the people that hang out in chat and everything, I just feel at home because I see familiar names, familiar faces in a way, and I'm already my outgoing self just because of the normal people. But the interesting thing is, if I do get rated, especially if it's a big host or something, I do get a little bit more shy, and you can actually notice it. But with time, as I notice that the new people don't bite, you know, everything comes back to normal.
Yeah, it's
And
like
sometimes, sometimes that is a challenge. Sometimes the raids, you don't know what to expect on raids, and I think, I don't know about anybody else, but I think sometimes with being a female streamer, there is a bit more of a sense of uncertainty with new community members or new raids that come in. Do you ever feel that way?
Yeah, a little bit.
Uh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to, before I forget, I'm so sorry. Lady Zoe, you said about not having like a streaming place and stream from your room and things like that. Well, obviously, that's also how I started. In fact, I feel like it started a little bit lower than that. When I started streaming, I didn't have a webcam. I'm sorry I'm not using webcam today, by the way. uh, but I didn't have a webcam. So, but I had a laptop that had a webcam, and I used that laptop to study. So I would Skype call my shitty laptop to my computer, crop the Skype window, and use that as my webcam.
oh
We
wow.
all start from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's how I did. When I did my very first stream, I remember two things. One, there was a guy that PM'd me saying that if I unbuttoned my shirt, he would give me money. Uh, Second, that's one of the reasons why I have private messages
Mm,
blocked on Twitch. I
mhm,
feel like it's a
mhm,
very
Yeah,
wow.
I
good
do too.
reason, especially because those people usually have a lot of courage to reach you on DMs, but to actually say it in front of people, they don't have the
Mhm.
courage to. But in any case, so I started with barely a webcam. My very first stream, I had like a group of 5 people stop by my stream. It was the classic test stream, and I was streaming League of Legends, and I was actually so shy, and I actually didn't know what I was doing at all, that I had my friend that convinced me to start streaming with me on TeamSpeak because I couldn't do it by myself. So it was a nightmare. But in the end, there were these 5 guys. One of them was
My back.
Sidero, his name, and he was my very first donation. He actually donated me $5 so I would get a webcam. and
Oh,
he
that's
also
nice.
and he also helped me set up the donation button, because not even that I had and knew what to do. And sometimes he still stops by my channel. He's super good people. And so I had a bad experience and I had a good experience.
Yeah.
And later on, I learned that those 5 people, they like to go to new streams and troll people. But they say that I was so nice and I was so
Oh,
welcoming to them that
okay, that's
they were
nice.
just nice back to me.
That's so nice, though. That's great. You turn them into friends. That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah, and ladies, just before I forget, you
Mm,
said about your room. One of
mhm.
the reasons why I don't stream from my room anymore, it's because I accidentally assigned OBS to start the stream with a hotkey.
Oh.
And
Oh.
one day, when you start your stream and says, "Are you sure you want to go live?"
Mm.
Back in the day, OBS did not ask you if you were sure to go live if you pressed a hotkey. So
Oh.
even though I had the option enabled, if you went live using a hotkey, it wouldn't work. And I accidentally pressed the hotkey. I didn't realize I was streaming. I was in my room and I actually changed clothes. Luckily, I was just outside the camera, so
Oh
nobody
boy.
saw
Oh
anything.
man.
But when I actually realized, you have no idea, like people in my community were actually so kind. They were trying to warn me and get to me that I was streaming for like the entire time of the thing. And they were so sweet and so kind. I was shaking so hard, and since then I made sure that I couldn't stream in my room anymore.
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, too much of a risk.
Yeah, yeah.
I stream out of my basement, and there was one night that I forgot to turn off my stream, and it just
Oh
ran
no.
all night long.
I mean, I think everybody's done that before. I've done
Oh
that.
my goodness.
I'm just sitting in front of my computer, like.
I always like triple check because I know that it happens a lot.
You have to create that level of kind of paranoia and really
Yeah.
consider where you're coming from when when you are streaming and
Yes.
have that consistency in your structure of setup and breakdown so that you can avoid stuff like that.
Yeah, it's one of
For
like the first
sure.
things I do when I end my stream. It's like I host or raid and then I like cover my camera and turn off my mic. Like
Mhm.
triple
Yeah,
check
you got best
OBS.
practices.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so let's change gears a little bit. Let's talk about identity and um, how you've developed your identity. And did you ever feel that being a female streamer or being a girl gamer, I hate that term, but girl gamer, do you ever feel that that was helpful, harmful when it came to creating your own identity? Did it get in the way of that? I'd love to hear your all's perspectives.
Um, I'm aware of the gamer girl trope, but I've kind of how did I develop my personality? I couldn't really tell you. It's just I just stream, and I think I certain ways that I stream now are affected by how I started out. We all kind of form our habits around how we present ourselves on camera in front of the stream. But I've never but I've always been very like aware of like I don't want to try too hard because what I mean is like for example right now I'm wearing makeup right now because I'm here with you guys. I'm on somebody else's stream. I want to present myself. But like this that I'm wearing, I can't. So I guess I try not to go try and I try not to like when I stream, not really like kind of deny that just because I'm not because I'm trying to like say like that's bad, but just because I'm lazy. I kind of have to say to myself, I don't really want to try this much. So I'm aware of like the aspect of wearing makeup and stuff on stream and like how that's like maybe might come into play with being a Twitch streamer and a female on Twitch, but I kind of just don't really care about it. I'm just there really much to have fun. Um, I can't really think any, other than that, I can't really think of anything else to add to that.
Yeah, so kind of like just keeping that aspect as minimized as possible.
Yeah,
And I
and if
think that that's true for a lot of people, for sure.
and if people do wear makeup, that's perfectly fine. It's just it's like it's not for me. I'm not trying to be like the gamer girl archetype or anything like that because like I said, I'm an affiliate. I don't I'm sometimes I wonder if maybe like if I wore more makeup or if I tried harder, maybe I could be partner, but it's like do I really want to? I just don't have the energy for it. I'd rather just play video games. That's kind of how my approach is to my streaming. I'm just there to have fun. Just play video games. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And then that's like also plays into like I don't want to be stressed about oh, am I playing the right thing or how do I look to people? I would just rather just turn on the stream and just have a good time. And as long as people are there, I'm happy.
I usually don't really think about it, like the whole girl gamer thing until somebody in chat brings it up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there being me, having fun, hanging out with
Yeah.
people. Um, I remember reading something a while ago that on Twitch, if you want to stream and you want it to be sustainable, it has to be you. Like it has to be you. It can be the best version of you, but it has to deep down be who you are.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're going to burn out. It's not going to work. It's not going to be
Yeah.
sustainable.
And if you
Um,
can do that, that's great. Then there's
yeah.
people on the platform who can do that, and they treat it like it is their job, and they're like on. But it's like I just can't.
No,
Like
me neither.
yeah, it's just too. I'm here to have fun, you know. But like those are people who it's their profession. Like they're out there, they're branding, they're marketing. Like they got the sponsorship. It's like I just personally I just don't have the energy for it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's all
Yeah.
about goals and what you're trying to
Mhm.
get out of it too, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, definitely. Hmm.
What about you, Lua? Do you embrace the girl gamer trope, or do you push against it, or is there a balance there for you?
Lily, are you done? Can I go?
Yeah, go for it. I was also gonna say, I
Okay.
think part of it too for me is I'm a little bit older than most streamers on Twitch. Like I'm
Wait, how old
34.
are you?
I'm
Oh,
34.
Me
nice.
too.
I'm
Yeah.
32.
You
So I think
guys.
there's part of me that I'm just very secure in who I am as a person, and I know
Yeah.
who I am. I think it would have been a very different experience if I had have started streaming in my early 20s. I
Mhm.
don't think I would have been able to handle it, to be honest. I think I'm a bit tougher now than I would have been back then. But I think that is part of it as well, is that I'm just a little bit older than most of the streamers on Twitch. And so I think that is displayed in the community as well. It's a little bit of a more mature community. I don't get a lot of the girl gamer conversations happening in my chat,
Yeah,
which I'm
I
kind of
have
glad
me
the
because,
too.
same feeling as well, even though
yeah.
I'm 30, but it's still a little bit younger, but I
Mhm.
understand that. And I honestly prefer that as well, Lily.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Definitely.
I didn't mean to cut you, so you can keep
No,
on
no, I'm good.
talking.
I'm good.
That was kind of my fault.
Mhm.
Sorry. Sometimes it's hard when there's a lot of people and you haven't really got their beats yet.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's always the
it's
challenge when you
okay.
have a group of people, for sure.
Well, gamer girl kind of thing. Okay. Well, first, what Lady Zoe said. I am the exact same thing in real life, and I don't start a stream without putting on a makeup and putting on good clothes because I I'm the kind of person that I do not go outside. I do not let people see me if it's not on my terms, on the way that I want them to see me. Uh, Usually, people that see me without makeup, without all getting ready, which just happens, and I already streamed like that, but very few occasions. It's mostly when I feel more comfortable around these people, then I let that happen. But so part of me putting the makeup, making my hair, and putting on clothes, it's because of that. Also, growing up, my mom, she tried to raise me like a little princess. She gave me Barbie dolls, and she would always, get me nice clothes, and she always told me, you need to get your nails done. And now I hate doing my nails, but sometimes. So part of this came from my mom. However, as a big balance, my dad, uh, he treated me like I was a little boy. Like my Christmas gifts were like video games, some remote control cars, and he always treated me like a little dude, but in a good way. So I kind of have like the balance, and I feel like it was actually really awesome that my parents did this because thanks to my mom, I worked as a model for like 10 years. I went ballet, I was a ballerina for 10 years as well. And I got all this girly perspective. And thanks to my dad, I got in contact with all the video games, and I got into races. And I helped him fix his car, and I got all the boyish kind of things. So I feel like I got best of both worlds, and I'm kind of like in between. So and I'm really happy with it, and I wish more people had the same experience as I did, because like this, you like things not because you're a girl or a boy, like video
Mhm.
games is a boy thing,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
you just like things because you like things. And I feel like that opened my perspective, and that made me who I am today.
Hmm.
With that in mind, uh I think that being a gamer girl or something like this is not really an advantage. Like, there's a few things that give people an edge. For example, if you're an attractive person, people are more likely to click on your stream preview. But that doesn't matter if you're a girl or a guy. Guys that are also attractive, they will also have that same advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you're just attractive, they click out just as quick, you know?
Mhm.
So if you don't
Yeah,
have
true.
anything else, you know, the edge, it only comes for a few seconds. If that few seconds you aren't interesting, they're out anyways.
That's true.
Also, there is also the unique thing. I feel like the biggest advantage that girls had is just that it started with being more like a boy thing. So the advantage that girls had was mostly because it was something new, something different in the platform. But I feel like nowadays there's a lot of girls, there's a lot of guys, you know? So I feel like I don't know, it's very even. And the same things that could, being an excellent gamer, that could benefit both a guy or a girl, being attractive, both a guy and a girl. So I don't know. I think overall it's very even though people tend to be a little bit more biased towards girl. And in the end, I honestly don't think that guys play video games any better than girls, unless if they use their PP as a way to press keys that girls do not have. Even though some guys do claim that's exactly what they do and why they're better than me at video games.
Oh my
I
god, that
got
makes
it.
so much sense.
So unless you're using, that as an advantage, I don't think it really gives anyone an edge like that.
That's
so
true.
I'm sorry for the gross comparison.
No,
but-
it's fine.
We're skipping to PG-13. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
well, that's why I said PP, Just if you use it as an extra finger, then I don't know, it gives you an advantage. If not, then it's okay.
So on that note, do you feel that have you ever felt pressure that you have to perform as a talented gamer more so than some of your counterparts?
I think overall, like what Luality was saying, boys and girls, I think it's all about the approach you take to streaming. If you were approaching stream as like, I'm a pro gamer and that's how you want to market yourself, that's fine. But I know plenty of guy streamers and girl streamers where it's, I'm not good at video games and I'm going to be very honest with it and let's just have a fun time. For me, that's kind of where I am. I'm not saying I'm bad at video games. I'm determined at video games, but I've never really felt a pressure to kind of up my game, I guess. But if I'm good at something, or if I'm struggling with something, I won't give up. So that's like kind of like where I am when it comes terms to skill level. Um, yeah, I always lose track of what I was going to say, but like yeah, it's just I think it's just how you market yourself. I think you could be just as successful on Twitch, um, not being the best video game player, but being entertaining. And also like about the appearance thing, it's just like a 5 second thing. It's like it's always thinking about like what's the thing that grabs your stream. For some people, it is appearances. That's very true. Some people, it is also skill level. And that's important. And that's the kind of audience that will gravitate to you as a result. It's just really how you approach it. But personally, no, I've never really felt any stress to be good at video games. I don't know if I mean I'm on camera with all these like talented people who've done amazing things with video games. Luality, she beat Dark Souls 3 with the DDR dance pad.
Yeah.
Lily Charles, she's no hit runner. I just try really hard.
I beat Bloodborne once.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good. Don't
I-
sell yourself short. Not many people do it,
But
mhm.
on the to elaborate on that though, so for our challenge runners that we have here, do you feel like the accolade or the attention that you get for accomplishing those is similar to that of people who identify as men? Is it different? Can you tell?
I mean, for me, it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
For the regulars in my chat, it's the same because most of the regulars in my chat are regulars in all the other no hit runners chats as well, regardless of gender. Where I see it the most is people that are new to the channel that come in, and I'll be doing like a no hit challenge, and they'll say something like, "I didn't even know girls played Dark Souls," or they'll start backseating and telling me advice that's completely irrelevant because it
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
fit what I'm doing in my challenge. Um, as if I think most of the time they're trying to impress me. But it has the exact opposite effect.
Oh,
So
backseaters.
I get that a lot, but it's mostly from people that are brand new to the channel. Once they come in and they get settled and they realize what is actually happening, everybody's usually wonderful. Um, but I do get it more, and it's not that common, but usually like a couple a day. Like usually a couple people a day will come in and comment on, especially if I'm doing challenge runs. Or I'll no hit a boss and they'll be like, "Is this your first playthrough?" I'll be like, "No."
Oh, I
No,
mean, I've
I've
never.
played this one a couple of times. Yeah, yeah, I'm a little familiar with it.
I've never done like any challenge runs or anything, but like I have played Souls because I moderate for a Soul streamer,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll even get like my favorite is when like you're in the middle of a boss, you're like, oh, you're using what? Why aren't you leveling? Oh, I can't believe you're leveling Dex.
Mm-hmm.
What? This is what
Yeah.
you should be doing. And how dare you not do what I think you should be doing? And it's like, yeah, it's like once they kind of figure out either they're allowed to act that way
Mm-hmm.
or they're not. And if they realize that they can act that way, they usually get out. Or they
Yeah.
stay around and get to know the community better.
Mm-hmm. For
Oh,
sure.
My experience is basically the same, except even though Lady Zo tried to separate me and grouped me with Lily as being like a challenge runner and all this, I feel like I am just like you, Lady Zo. I just try really hard, especially because
yeah.
I try my best to not compare myself to others because I feel like that's usually
Mm-hmm.
hurtful for the self to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be very stubborn. And when I see that I can do something, I just bash my head on it until I get a way to do it. And at the same time, exactly what Lily said is what happened to me. Like I would be doing Dark Souls on a dance pad. People would say, "Oh, I have never seen this done before. By the way, if you summon me, I can help you kill that boss."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like, dude, I mean, that's literally taking out the credit from my challenge run if I summoned you, no? So I feel like sometimes people tend to try to be too helpful, or maybe because they see I'm a lady in distress and I need help. I don't. Let me suffer. I like suffering. And
That's
I
what
don't know.
Dark
There
Souls
too.
is.
Exactly. I feel like it can happen also that, especially if you're a girl, and that people will assume you don't know a lot about the game. And oftentimes we do know
Mm-hmm.
more than
Mm-hmm.
they do, the person doing that, especially because usually people that assume that others don't know as much as they do are not often the people that know a lot anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
that's mostly the case. So it's just like they say, but people from the community and all that, in fact my community, I feel like I'm very happy with them. I hate being flirted with. So whenever somebody comes and flirts with me, people in chat act like that flirt was directed at them and flirt with the person back, and they feel super awkward. So uh, the same thing happens when anyone says anything like stupid. So I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate them. So the community does come and help us, at least help me a lot, and I'm sure both of them would agree as well.
My
And
community did that for me as well, a lot
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just love it. I love it
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes I tell people a stream is not like you're in a one-to-one talk with the streamer. Imagine more you're in an auditorium and there is somebody in front of 200 people making a presentation. So when you go and you say something horny to the streamer, you're basically standing up in the audience saying the horrible thing. Everyone looks at you. Everyone thinks you're crazy. Most people will not say anything. Some will even laugh at you. And obviously the presentator will make fun of you. So
Yes, I do think that establishing that community is so important, and having people back you up and kind of know the direction that you want your chat to be in, so that they can back you up when those situations is so important. And you have to appreciate the people who come every day to want to stream and just hang out and just kind of watch out for that kind of stuff. It's great.
Yes. And then that brings up the idea of like if you were just starting out, right? For maybe some female streamers that are just starting out, that's probably the biggest challenge, right? Is creating a community that has good boundaries, that you're able to establish this is the expectations of my community. And that's going to be different from streamer to streamer, regardless of how you identify. But if you were to give some advice to someone who is starting out fresh and trying to create that community, what would be that advice that you'd give?
The biggest thing for me that I wish I had have done differently looking back, because I see this a lot, is establishing those boundaries. And if a viewer is repeatedly making you uncomfortable, especially if you've tried to talk to them about it, just get rid of them. Because chances are they're making everybody else uncomfortable as well. There were a couple people that when I had, an average of 5 viewers, it's like that one viewer is one of 5. And so I let people get away with things that I shouldn't have. Like nothing extreme, but just people that repeatedly made me feel uncomfortable when they would show up. And once I got a little bit more comfortable and I established my boundaries, there were a couple people that I had conversations with and things did get better. And there were a couple that it didn't. And if it didn't, then it was just they had to go because they were ruining my streaming experience, which would make me uncomfortable and everybody in chat uncomfortable as well. But I see a lot of people when they start out that are very
they just
concerned about
feel,
maintaining every single
yeah,
viewer that they have,
Yeah.
that they bend their own boundaries to try to get that person to stay.
definitely don't do
When the
that.
healthy thing to do would be to just let them go.
Mm-hmm,
Let them go and continue to grow your community the
Or
way you
not let them go, literally kick them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And it's
sometimes they will not go.
and
I
it's
agree with
hard.
Lily completely. Sorry.
Yeah, go, Lua. Yeah.
I agree with her completely, but I realized not that people were making others uncomfortable, but like some people, just to see them in chat would make me sad, would make me feel self-conscious, would make me in a bad mood, and this would cause me to have a worse stream. So even if they weren't actively making others uncomfortable, they would. I'm very emotional, so you can see my emotions in my face. So if I'm feeling anything, you know it. So those people would literally ruin my stream. So I stopped letting that from happening by just, getting rid of them. If they didn't do anything to deserve it, then just right click and ignore them. And you never see their message again, and you're gone forever, So sometimes if you give attention to people, this is a little bit of a side road, but I also did the mistake of sometimes there's people that would just reach out to you in private messages. And even if those people are not, you know, being flirty or anything like this is something I learned to not like and not enjoy, because I ended up in a situation that I had a viewer that would always talk to me in Discord, and I would always talk to them. They never made me uncomfortable or anything like that until my mom got sick. She had a heart surgery. I would spend the day in the hospital. At night I would stream, and I just didn't have time to chat with them, right? Except they expected me to. And you know what they asked me to do? To shadow times, like 2 times a week for certain times to certain time that I would talk to them.
Oh boy.
Like, yikes.
So no, this is the kind of stuff like since that happened, I prefer talking to people in a group. If you want to talk to me on Discord, let's talk on Talkie Talkie. Talkie is the general part of my Discord. I'd rather that we all. I mean, the entire thing about my stream is that the stream is not about me. It's about the community. So everyone needs to interact, not only you with me. And I feel like that brings the best out of people.
Oh, definitely. I definitely agree with everything you guys are saying because there's situations that I've had exactly like that, and I'm learning as well to do just that, just to realize that, hey, I don't feel cool when you're in my stream. I should probably say something about that, and it makes things better. And uh man, I always just lose my train of thought whenever I start on something.
You got
um
this, Zoe. It's okay.
yeah, no, this is just how I stream. I just randomly blank on subjects that I'm going to bring up, and then just it comes back to me later. Yeah, it's just you do have to stand your ground. You have to find like a place to stand where it's like you're not going this isn't going to go get any better. You either this person has to change and or they have to leave, and if they're not going to change, they're probably not going to change. They have to leave, and you have to stick to your guns on that. I also seen that with I've seen that with all kinds of streamers where it's like this person's kind of weird, but I could see that you feel pressured to keep them in your community because, oh no, if I lose this person, then this person's going to go, and then this person's going to go, and then they're going to hate me, and I'm going to have less people. There's always that level of anxiety that you feel as a streamer, but you kind of have to say no, and that goes back to me and my like I don't care kind of attitude. It's like you kind of have to have that a little bit of a skin to say no, I don't want you here, you have to leave, and you don't really need to give them like a reason for that. It's just bye. I don't need to give you anything. Bye.
You're the
um
law. In your stream, you're the law.
yeah, sometimes, and it's true, sometimes people think like they owe you owe them something, and it's like just because you're on camera and you're talking to someone does not mean that they owe you anything. Just because I've banned people from chat rooms who have had sub badges for 2 years, and like I mean that's how I moderate things. It's like if you're here as long as you are and you're acting the way that you're acting, clearly you are never going to understand how the stream is working. So bye. Other than that, any advice for new streamers? I would just say just try and find people that you could just hang out with. Because if you don't have anybody in your stream and you're a female and you're all by yourself, you kind of have to figure out like who can I have around me to kind of just bounce ideas and conversation with. Maybe get into somebody else's stream, get involved in a community, and just kind of hang out in there, and then develop from there. So that at the very least, you have at least two people to talk to, and then it just kind of grows from there. I was really fortunate because I came from a community already, and then people were interested in seeing me stream. Um, so I never really had the experience of the one creepy guy in my chat room talking about his cats or something. like me and my cat are watching you. It's like thankfully I've never had that experience. So for me, I think it's really important that you do try and find just like a friend or even a family member. I've known people who've actually asked their family members to watch them stream just to have somebody in there. And then just grow from there. And definitely, if somebody creeps you out, just get rid of them. It's okay.
And I think
I agree. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I agree with everything you say, Lady Zoe, and I feel like those are all good points.
Mm.
But because of me being kind of shy and all this, I actually never told a single person that I started streaming in real life or my family until I got Twitch partner.
Oh, I see.
I just didn't tell anyone. Most
Yeah.
people, even
Yeah,
that I
same.
played video games with, I just couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it's still difficult for me because what do you say to somebody? I stream, and then you have to describe what streaming is.
Yep.
There's always where you're like they're
Yeah.
gonna think you're talking about some other kind of streaming, and it's like no, no, it's video games. No.
Yeah.
But
I have
yeah.
a day job that it would get weird if I talked a lot about streaming or had like friends from my day job come in. It'd just be kind of weird sort of thing.
Same.
But I do have, I've invested in a couple really good moderators. That the band hammer is swift and fierce.
Very
And I think
important, yeah.
having a relationship with a moderator that you're able to have a consistent idea of what those boundaries should be, so
Wait,
that like
are you dating your mods?
well,
Oh,
my
not that kind of relationship. My bad.
my primary moderator is my partner, but
Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay.
so
Yeah,
but very reasonably so, as long as you don't have a jealous partner, right?
that's true. That's true. Definitely.
But definitely have, yeah, I dated before they were a mod. That would be weird if it was the other way around, for sure. But having that like a really well established level of boundary, I think, is important. And realizing what your personal boundaries are, and they're going to be different from streamer to streamer, right? But sticking with them, and that's where it's hard. And I think that's what you guys were talking about. Is having that boundary, but then sticking with it. Because I absolutely agree. If someone, drops you a $20 tip, or, you've seen them in your stream every night for 6 months, and they're starting to get weird, that makes it uncomfortable, right? And you feel bad until you realize that you are selling yourself short. You're cutting your boundaries down for $2.50 a month. Like, really? Is that worth it? Probably not.
One of the great things is if you do that as you're growing, your community will grow, and then it gets to the point where it's like, I don't really need to enforce my boundaries anymore because my community just does it for me. Like, it's developed around that.
Yeah.
And so I used to have these problems like 2.5 years ago. But for the most part now, like, my community is just absolutely wonderful. And then people either come in and they get the vibe and they stay and they grow within that community, or it's not for them and they just leave anyway. So it's if you establish them as you're growing, then it'll continue to stay with you as your stream gets bigger.
I've gotten to the point that instead of people coming chat and say, "Oh my god, I love your stream," they say, "Oh my god, I love the people here. I'm staying."
Yeah, exactly.
You definitely got to build up your streaming environment, and of course, picking the right mods for the job is definitely important too.
Let's talk about some challenges with streaming. We've talked about a lot of the great things that we've done and how we've gotten here, but what do you feel like today is your biggest challenge in streaming?
I'm not going to talk about my own challenge, but I would say that at least as a woman, it's harder to be a streamer if you're a woman and you're a smaller streamer. As you grow bigger and as you have your boundaries and your community, things get a lot easier. People that would normally harass you because they would see an empty room, nobody else to see the shitty things they're doing, they would do more when you're smaller. Now that you have your community and you have all your friends you hang out with, they don't have the same courage to harass you anymore. So usually as a girl, I feel like it's even harder if you're a smaller streamer and you have a lot more challenges than as you grow. Of course, with popularity, lots of things come. But overall, unless you get extremely popular, I don't know how far that can go. But I do believe that being a smaller girl streamer is harder than a slightly bigger girl streamer.
I would agree with that for sure.
Wait,
Definitely.
but female streamers have it easier, I thought. Isn't that what everyone tells us?
Oh, that old
you know
line.
you know what's funny? It's because like some people think that you're competition. You're not. Like it's a different audience. Of course, there are some people that are mature enough that they don't care if they watch a girl or a guy playing a video game. But for example, if there was a girl is streaming and she's streaming more to show the world that she's a girl rather than show the video game that she's streaming, that will attract a certain audience that none of us here would want to attract in the first place. So that person is not a competition to any of us because it's just an entirely different public. This person is actually taking the attention away from us and focusing on them. If anything, they're helping me. So they're creating an environment for just that, and they're okay with that. My environment is different than that. So this this entire concept of girls having it easier, it comes from a very untaught process, It's just
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
just it's like
People were
people.
literally
Mhm.
trying to excuse themselves for why they're not successful and bashing on others and blaming others for it.
Mhm.
Well,
Definitely.
the other part of that is if you take the individual viewer, if they're watching somebody solely because that person is a woman, then the woman's not your competition because they're not going to watch you anyways.
Mhm.
Like if they
Yeah.
only want to watch women play video games, then they're not going to watch your stream regardless.
Yep.
Like yeah.
Yeah, I really think it is just like it's like it's like here's someone who's different. They're potentially taking something away. It's like, but are they really? I mean, it's just a different community. It's like it goes back to the whole idea of somebody stealing your audience. It's not really stealing because a viewer is somebody who can make their own decisions. They're not a number. They're an individual who's actively choosing, hey, I want to watch this person over here who's presenting themselves a certain way that I find appealing as a stream I watch. I mean, some people like watching VTubers, and I don't. And I mean, you hear that kind of similar talk from that as well. Like these cartoon characters are taking away viewers from us over here who have been working for years. It's like I think that those people who are over there, they're adding to the platform, but I don't think that they're moving because suddenly like here's this, like they're going to the content that they want to enjoy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm basically just agreeing. It's like people will always just gravitate to what they like. There's no stealing, taking away, adding anything like that. As for personal challenges for me, I don't really have any big like goals with my stream. It's just really to hang out. I guess the only thing would be to just make sure that the community that I maintain, the community that is so very important to a stream, is just maintained, and that no matter what, people come to my stream whether they want to feel comfortable or they want to be entertained, as long as like that's there for them. That's like my biggest important thing, and then making sure that I'm still having fun, and also not just doing things specifically to get a certain amount of audience members or pleasing like one person in chat or something. Like it's just making sure that everybody's just the community's there for me.
Yeah. Definitely.
Absolutely. And I think
Mhm.
one of the interesting things is that whole concept, right, of identity and stealing viewers and all this stuff. But yeah, there might be like you guys said, there might be someone who prefers a certain type of streamer, and if you're not that type of streamer, that community is not getting stolen from you. Or there's someone who likes a certain type of vibe or a certain type of game group, right? So Souls community is a big one, right? There's female Souls community members, there's male Souls community members, and I think most of them move throughout all of those identities pretty comfortably, because they're not there for your facial,
Yeah.
preferences necessarily. And VTubers, I keep saying this, and I'm sorry for anyone who's a VTuber. Like, they creep me out. I personally can't watch them, but
Oh no.
power to the people who like that, right? And I'm not worried about that. Um, it's just adding diversity to the options for people, right? It's adding options. It's expanding Twitch and what's available at Twitch. And I think if they were going to leave to go see a VTuber, they're probably going to leave to go see something else anyways, because you didn't hold them in your community well enough.
And not only that, right? I feel like you can watch and like more than one thing as well, right? Like, for
Absolutely.
example,
Yeah.
Lily and I, we both like Souls games, and we're both on our 30s. And Lily streams, I stream. There's people that watch her. Well, there is somebody, I think. Is Mike a moderator in your channel, Lily?
No, he's a VIP only because I know he moderates like 20 channels.
Yeah, so
Oh.
actually I was the first channel where Mike moderated, by the
Oh,
way.
wow.
Oh, really?
So yeah, you see, my moderator is a VIP in her channel, and maybe eventually he will become a mod in her channel, and who cares? It's good. Sometimes I might be playing a game that Mike doesn't want to watch, so he goes watch the game Lily is playing. The one day Lily is playing a game Mike doesn't want to watch, so he comes watch the game I'm playing. Doesn't mean Lily is my mortal enemy. In fact, I like Lily a lot.
It's actually, I feel like it's the opposite.
Mike comes
'cause
out
then
and
it's
hangs
like
out in
when
my
you
stream
go
sometimes, too.
when you go
Yeah.
into other streams and you see those familiar names, like it's more comforting, right? It's like
Yeah, right.
you know people there. You feel like you fit in and you can just join right in.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to pick. It's not like you're in a committed relationship, And not to mention that as a streamer, one of the first things you need to come in terms with is that people come and go.
Mhm.
And that's for many reasons. For example,
Yeah.
people stopped enjoying your content. People found somebody that they like more. People have died. People got busy and they don't have time for Twitch anymore. In any case, people will always come and go. And the reasons for that could be so many that you can't probably think of all of them. So you need to come in terms with that. Of course, it's nice to know somebody and to interact with somebody for many years, but eventually one of us is dying, right? So one of us is not going to be there anymore. So I always think of the good times. I always think of the times that it was enjoyable. I always think of the moments that person made me laugh and things like this. And eventually it's time for them to go, move on. It's time for me to go. I don't know if I'm going to stream for the rest of my life, So I hope so, because I love it and I love the people I have met, but you never know. So you really need to come in terms with people coming and going, and don't obsess and make it about you, because that's just bad for your head.
I think that's part of the problem is everything on Twitch, because you're putting yourself out there, feels so personal. And 99.9% of the time it's not.
Mhm.
Um,
But it's hard not to take it personally when it's like, this is me. So
yeah,
when something goes the wrong way, it's hard to break that mindset, be like, no, like it's just
I
Twitch.
I I know. I know,
Mhm.
especially because sometimes you feel like I did something wrong. Maybe I said something. Could have had been anything, right? But the thing is, most of the cases we'll never know. We'll never find out. One day that person is just gone, and for more than you miss them, it could have been because of anything. But there's just many more things that's not you, you know. So I don't know. It's just not healthy to think like that.
No. And yeah, I think it's you have to kind of be conscientious of that thinking and just try and not let it get to you. And who knows, maybe those people, maybe they'll come in again and say hi, and it's like you're meeting of an old friend again, or not,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is. Um, I mean, I've moderate for a streamer now for 6 years. I definitely learned that because when you don't really notice that on a smaller scale, but when you're dealing with a chat room that's like 2,000, 4,000 people, you certainly notice when there's waves of people that come and go, and it's just that they'll leave because thing or the other. Maybe you don't stream a certain day, and that day they needed your content or they wanted your content. You weren't there, so they just find somebody else. But there's always somebody there to take their place. There's always new people that you could talk to, they share experiences with, and all that good stuff. But it's something I know also that everybody worries about, from the smallest streamer of like 5 people to like a fully like partnered streamer with all of the viewers that they could ever hope for. It's always something that I've noticed that people have always at the back of their heads, and it doesn't go away. You get your partner badge and it's like, okay, I'm partner now. How do I keep these people here? But you kind of really like you will drive yourself crazy if you obsess about that. You kind of have to just realize it is what it is. People come, people go, as long as the people are there to replace them.
the partner badge doesn't do that much, you know?
Oh.
So, another thing is that I just couldn't come in terms with personally. I I have a viewer. I had a viewer. I don't see him since like a year, and he was somebody that was very close to me. Like sometimes we would talk in private messages, and he would also help me um, editing videos and things like that. So I felt like we were friends, and in fact, I got close to most of my viewers that talk with me because I love making friends, and those people, they mean a lot to me. They're more than just names and badge in the chat, I see most of these people every single day of my life. How do I not care about them? And this viewer in particular, he was in the middle of editing something for me, and his work was almost done and everything, and suddenly he disappeared for 1 year. Has
Wow.
not been a single day since he's gone that I have not been worried about him, because
Mhm.
how do I not hear that the worst thing has happened? And
Mhm.
honestly, at this point, I just want closure. I just feel like I just hope that whatever he is, he's okay. But I would be lying to you to tell you if I'm not worried. I am, and
Mhm.
that could be with anyone's. So I don't know. I just hope you guys are never in that situation
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's not easy.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
happened in the communities that I've been with. It's like they, it's easy to look at it as a number, but really, if you're really close to your community and you talk to them every day, they are people. Like even if you just casually talk to them, they're their story. Maybe you talk about their day. Sometimes that's people's content. It's like you're like, how are you? Like, how's been things? And they just kind of, you don't know what happens to them. It's the hope is that sometimes they come back, but it's like unless they do, it's like how do you know? And it's like trying to deal with that. I know that there's some people who, because of that, they don't contact, they don't talk to their viewers to that level because they don't want to have to worry about that. They don't want to have that in them that like I'm legitimately worried about this person. I don't know where they are. Like I've talked to them every day. Like they've been in my stream every day. Where are they? Because for some people, unfortunately it is too much, and it's like it goes back to making that decision, having that skin of like how are the people around me in my stream going to affect me? Am I going to allow it to get to that point where I worry so much? And of course, we're human beings. We're going to worry about the people that we're with, but you just gotta have to. It's like all you can really do is just hope for the best and
Just so
just
you have an idea, I started overthinking about this so much.
mm,
I actually know the address of this person that went away,
oh
and I've actually tried to send them a letter. But both times that I went to send them a letter, they say that they were not shipping to that country because the
mm,
country is
Mm.
closed. And and that doesn't
mm,
help. Just makes me even more sick worried. It's just like
yeah.
I'm like, I have so much information on this person. I even know their hacking address, and I still cannot contact them
Oh, that's
to ask if
interesting.
everything is okay. So I feel like this situation, oh God, it's so bad. I hope you guys are never in a situation like this. But at the same time, I find it impossible to not care about people that I interact with
Hmm.
every day. It's impossible.
Hmm.
And I feel like it's part of what makes the streaming good. Of course, everyone uses Twitch has as how they want, but in the end, we're social creatures.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the best thing, at least in my opinion, the best thing about Twitch is that you find people that like the same video games that you do. You find people that like the same things as you do. You have fun interacting, and you belong somewhere. You belong in a community. You're part of something. And I feel like that I'm just the host of a party, but every single person there is important because without them there would be no party. What's a
Hmm.
party with just the host, right? So
Hmm.
this interaction that you have with your community, this is what makes everything special. And I feel like if you try to deprive yourself for that just so you don't care about others, I feel
Hmm.
like you're missing out on the best thing that Twitch is about.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's definitely 100%. It's like it's just so nice to be able to have people to talk to, especially with everything that's been going on these past couple of years. Twitch has been very helpful to a lot of people because people have not been able to reach out to other people. We are, at the end of the day, yeah, we're all human beings. We all like those social connections that are really important to us. So it is definitely it's almost like a balancing act. It's like, how much do you like these people are clearly important to me. How much am I going to let that affect me, and how much like the person who's bothering you versus the person that you really genuinely want to know what's going on with them. It's just I wonder if that's just something that a lot of Twitch streamers have to go through, and I guess everybody's approach to it is different.
And
Yeah.
it's funny. So many people come to a stream, either be a stream that is a girl streaming or a guy streaming, and they try to troll them so they bring an impact. And in the end, the people that are just being themselves and being there, and you being there for them, those are the people you miss when they're gone. Those are the people that give a big impact, not only on your stream but also in your life. you know it's usually kids, that come trying to troll others and do shitty things like
Yes.
that. They just don't know better.
Yes.
But if you want to be truly impactful, to somebody else, some other people's lives, just be kind to them. That's the way to
Absolutely.
do it.
Yeah.
So we got some really good themes here. I think the bottom line, which I'm really glad we sort of came to, is female streamers are streamers. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like as we talk through stuff, there are definitely some unique challenges that we may be more likely to have issues with, but at the end of the day, we're all just part of this big old world called Twitch, and trying to create our own identities, trying to create our own communities. What I would love to do, though, is give you all a chance to sum up what you think the most important piece of what we talked about today was for our community members. If you want to give them one quick piece of advice, what would that be? Let's start with Lua.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, first, I feel like streaming is not easy. When I started, I did not expect it to be so demanding, so stressful, and hard as it is. It's a lot more than just playing video games and hanging out with friends. Playing video games and hanging out with friends is the best part of it, yes, but that's not all of it. And being successful on Twitch is not something that you can control. Oftentimes you can't. So you should just focus on enjoying yourself, having fun, meeting new people that you will go into adventures together. Like each game you play together, it's like you're going on an adventure together, and just enjoy your time, like striving for anything like fame, greatness will just make all of this lose its magic. It will just make it worse than a factory job, especially because if you think about it, if you want to grind viewers and things like that, you probably are going to stick and play the same exact game for 15 years. And how is that different from a factory work where you do the exact same thing every day? It's not. So just have fun, do things for fun, do things for your enjoyment. Do not try to make a career out of anything just because you enjoy it. It's okay to have hobbies. Like with what happened to us, it's just something that happened. I didn't plan to suddenly become a full-time streamer. Lily didn't, so it just came to that point, and it's just something that we could do. And even then, that's not easy. I've known people that are full-time streamers and quit that to normal jobs as well. Streaming is not just all roses. With anything, it has its pros and cons. And if you like it, do it for the fun part. That's meeting people, playing video games, going on adventures, and be nice to one another.
Beautifully said.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lily.
Yeah, mostly what Lua just said, in that you should be streaming if you want to stream, stream because you like streaming, not because you like being a successful streamer or because you want to make it your job. Do it for the love of what it is as a hobby, and the rest will come. Make sure you're having fun. Make sure you're not taking yourself too seriously. Just being yourself, and just building that community around you as a person, and what you are hoping to get out of it, rather than what you think you should be doing. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people go into streaming seeing the streamers at the top and thinking it'll be really easy, and trying to just duplicate what they think is success, rather than doing what they feel they should be doing or what they want to be doing. And at the end of the day, you should be streaming because you enjoy it, because it's fun, because it's a great way to spend your time, and you enjoy talking to people and playing games.
Lily, just
Yes.
one thing that's very important. If you do
Mm-hmm.
try to look at bigger streamers that work and how this and try to
Mm-hmm.
copy them, you're actually decreasing your chances.
Yes,
Because,
exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
if you want to stand out, you must do something that nobody else is doing. You
Yep.
must, and wanting or not, being you is the most unique thing you can do?
You have
So,
to be genuine. People have a
yes,
way of seeing through if you're not, regardless of whether if they know that's what they see. Um, if you are in a stream and the streamer is not genuine, you can tell that's not who they are as a person. It feels off,
yeah.
and it's not enjoyable content. Um, and a lot of viewers don't necessarily know that that's why they don't enjoy the content, but I think it is a very common thing that if you're faking who you are, it will be noticeable to people on Twitch. You can be a better version of yourself, or you can accentuate certain aspects of your personality, but deep down it has to be who you are, or it won't be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people, they just so I think people go into streaming thinking they kind of know what they want to do and how they want to present and what they think their viewers want, and then trying to reflect that in their streaming. But I mean, it's just a fact of life as well. You're never going to please everybody in the world. There's always going to be somebody who's going to criticize what you what you do. So trying to please however many number of people to try and create a brand for yourself, it's not going to work, because there's always going to be that one guy who's not happy, or five guys, or 500 guys. It is so very important to just do what you enjoy doing. And definitely, like, again, like in life, if it starts out as a hobby, but if you start treating it like a job, guess what? It's not a job anymore. Or it's not a hobby anymore. It's a job. And you might get to a point where you're streaming and you don't want to do it anymore, but now it's your job. You have to perform. So I think it's very important to always make sure that you do find ways of having fun in whatever way that is. You can approach your streaming as a job, and people live their lives and make their money doing streaming, but you can't let it stagnate. You can't let yourself stagnate. You have to keep trying to figure it out to keep it enjoyable for you, so that you could do it for as many years as you want, or as long as you want. And other than that, I guess advice for maybe people interested in streaming, other than what people said, there are people out there who try and tell you that you do have to approach it a certain way. There is a certain culture of, I have to be the boss, make your brand, create your brand, get out there, get your name out, visit this list of streamers, your URL out there in the world, spam Twitter. It's not going to work. Like, if you're not there and you're not present in your stream and you're enjoying yourself and you're being yourself, it's just not going to work. You could put as much frosting on it as you want. At the very end of the day, you have to be yourself. You have to find joy in what you're doing, and just those people who try and tell you have to market yourself a certain way, it's just, don't do that. That's how burnout happens, and it's a very real thing, and I've seen it happen to people, and you don't want to ever be in the situation where you've originally enjoyed what you like so much, but you've gotten to a point where you no longer want to do it anymore, and then you like literally the idea of doing it is just awful to you. That is a terrible way of ever getting anywhere in life, no matter whether it's streaming or anything. You never want to burn out. So always just do something, approach it the way it's natural to you, whatever that may be. But yes, always have fun at the end of the day.
You know, the funny thing is, all this could have been said about anything in life, any other job.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a way that people should strive to do things. Do things you enjoy. Life is too short to be stuck somewhere where you don't want to be. You know, no matter your job, no matter your situation, try your best. Enjoy your time, enjoy the people that are with you, and life will be a lot better for all of us.
The best saying that I've have heard recently was, look for diamonds in your own backyard. Don't go outside of your yard. There are good things in your life right now that you can appreciate and find joy in. You just have to look for them. So it's sometimes going to another pasture. It's not really the path you need to take. It's just enjoying what you have and just finding ways of enjoying it.
By the way, there is this fifth person in this podcast that wasn't acknowledged, and I need to know who that person is. I have been, since that person joined in like an hour ago almost, I have been wondering, who is that Eater Meats by your
That's
side?
my polar bear.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that what you're talking about? I have a very
Yeah.
large polar bear. Yes. His name is Ghost.
I love
I've been
Ghost.
so
He's so
distracted by
cute.
him.
Oh, my
Probably
goodness.
attracts more
That's-
clicks than me being a woman, I will say.
What a cute boy.
Yeah, he's a sleepy boy. Well, you guys have been absolutely wonderful. And one of the instructions I gave at the beginning was I'd like to speak the least amount of the group, and we have accomplished that. And that was wonderful because they hear me all the time. It has been so great, Lady Zoe, Lily Charles, Luality, having you on stream and on the podcast. Follow our friends here. They
You know
are
what's a
wonderful.
good idea? We should do the same again. For example, I would love to hear more from Lily and Lady Zoe, especially Lily, because I feel like Lily, everything she talked was amazing, but she talked so little, you know. She
I'm a
did
quiet
say she's
person.
quiet. You did say you're quiet, but
did,
that's the
yeah.
entire point, you know. You're a quiet
Yeah.
person, but you have lots to say and lots to add, and I would love to do it
I'm a
again.
listener. I'm a
You
listener,
know?
and then I feel like when I have something to contribute, that's when I
I
chime in.
know,
Yeah.
I know, but you know, we should maybe have this again, so maybe you feel more comfy and we'll get to learn more from you, from all of you, really. So thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for
definitely.
being here. I appreciate all of you, and I'm sure if the need arises for more guests, which we certainly incorporate them periodically. This is a very special episode, but it certainly doesn't mean that it needs to be the only one of this. I appreciate y'all's perspectives. Female streamers or just streamers? All right, guys, remember to like, subscribe. I have to do this every time. Like and subscribe to our stuff. Infinite quality.